You ever wonder if there's like a single hidden truth that connects all the world's religions and philosophies? Well, there's a spiritual system out there that claims to hold that very key. So today we're going to try to unlock its core ideas, and we're using its foundational text, The Key to Theosophy, as our guide. I mean, right off the bat, this is the big, bold claim of Theosophy. The idea of a single, ancient wisdom religion that was here before everything we know and will be here long after it's all gone. That's a pretty powerful idea, right? So our quest today is to really get a handle on the laws that make this whole worldview tick. So what is this wisdom religion really? Well, according to Theosophy, it's not some new system. It's the original source. The idea is that every faith, every philosophy you've ever heard of, they all sprang from this one place, kind of like different branches growing from the same ancient trunk of truth.
Okay, so if this knowledge is that old, how in the world did it survive all this time? Theosophy's answer is that it was never really meant for everybody. It was actually kept secret, carefully guarded, and passed down through the ages by a chain of initiates. These are people all over the world who dedicated their lives to keeping this wisdom pure. All right, so with our source text right here as our guide, let's start digging into the fundamental laws that make this whole worldview work. And we're going to start with a concept that I bet a lot of you have heard of, but maybe not quite in this way. Okay, the first big pillar we need to understand is karma. Now, Theosophy has a really specific take on this. It's not some system of rewards and punishments handed down by a god. Nope. It's presented as this impersonal, universal law of nature, something as fundamental and real as, say, gravity. To put it simply, it's the law of ethical cause and effect. And this applies to everything. We're not just talking about your physical actions, but your thoughts, your intentions, all of it. Every little ripple of energy you put out into the universe has to, by cosmic law, find its way back to you. I love this analogy from the text. Just picture the entire universe as a giant, still pond, and every single thing you do or think is like a stone you toss into it. Those ripples, they don't just vanish. They spread out, they touch everything, and sooner or later, they circle all the way back to where they started. It's this beautiful, inescapable system of perfect balance. So the implications here are pretty profound, right? It means there's just no escaping the consequences of your actions. The universe itself makes sure the books get balanced. And get this, saying you're sorry, even if you're totally sincere, might stop you from doing it again, but it can't just erase the ripples you already created. This isn't about some god judging you, it's more like cosmic physics, but for ethics. Okay, so if karma is the great balancing act of the universe, you might be asking, how does that balance get worked out over time? And that leads us straight to the second huge law, which works hand in hand with karma, and that is reincarnation. The way Theosophy sees it, one single lifetime just isn't enough. It's not enough time to learn everything or to balance out all the karmic ripples we've created. So the soul, that immortal part of us, goes on this massive journey of rebirth. It keeps coming back to the physical world, over and over, to keep evolving and keep growing. Now, to really understand who, or maybe what, is actually on this massive cyclical journey, we have to make a really important distinction. And this is honestly one of the most important ideas for unlocking this whole system. Theosophy argues that we aren't just one self, we're actually two. There's the temporary, mortal you, and then there's the eternal, divine you. So let's break this down. On one hand, you've got the personality. Think of this as your avatar for this specific life. It's your body, your name, all your memories from this go-round. It's temporary, and when this life is over, it dissolves. But then you have the individuality, what's also called the higher self, or the ego. And this is super important. We're not talking about ego like Freud did, the psychological term. In Theosophy, the ego is the real immortal you. It's the golden thread that connects all of your lifetimes, carrying the purest wisdom from every single experience forward. Okay, so this is the question everybody asks, right? If I've lived all these other lives, if I was a Roman soldier or an artist in the Renaissance, why in the world don't I remember any of it? Well, Theosophy has a pretty direct answer for that. And the answer is actually pretty simple. Our hardware just isn't up to the job. The physical brain, which belongs to our temporary personality, simply isn't designed to access the gigantic hard drive of our immortal individuality. Think of it like trying to run a super advanced program on a really old computer. The data's all there, but the machine can't read it. Theosophy says that complete memory does exist, but only very advanced souls, or people in very specific states of consciousness can actually tap into it. All right, so if we're on this incredible, long journey of reincarnation, guided by the laws of karma, where's it all going? What's the final destination? What's the end game? Well, Theosophy calls it nirvana. Now hold on a second, because a lot of people hear the word nirvana and think it means just poof, you're gone, like blowing out a candle. But Theosophy defines it completely differently. It's not about extinction, it's about transformation. It's this ultimate state of being where your individual consciousness merges back into the universal consciousness, but without being destroyed. You become part of the whole without losing your unique essence. So the path to get there is all about shedding those final attachments to any single personality. It's about letting all the purest things you've learned, all the love, the wisdom, the compassion, be completely absorbed by your immortal individuality. You often hear it described as the moment a single drop of water finally returns to the ocean. That's the end of the long, long cycle of rebirth and suffering. It's achieving a state of absolute perfect consciousness. And that really brings us to our final thought to chew on. What Theosophy lays out is this vast, impersonal, but at the same time, deeply ethical universe. It suggests that every single one of us is the architect of our own destiny, all of us connected in this complex web of cause and effect. So the question I want to leave you with is this. If we all truly, deeply believed that every single action, every word, every thought would eventually come back to us, how would that change the world? How would that change the way you treat yourself and everyone else tomorrow?